That's what beer does to me.
Rivalries are buried today between the Cowboys and Steelers. As today on the FrienDish podcast, the girls dish on being platonic friends with members of the opposite gender, or whichever gender you happen to be into. Plus, they share what foods they would prepare or get for a platonic friend. What type of foods would you share with somebody that you don't want to bone? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Time Spent Poorly YouTube for your fix of food and friendship. And now with your hostesses with the mostesses on this Rated M for Mature podcast, Bree and Caitlin.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Thanks for tuning in for another week. You know what? We made it a whole month podcasting. Just throwing that out there. We did all of January.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really great.
We have spent...
And neither of us backed out on a
I know.
Sunday. We should get an award for that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel really good that we've committed to that.
We've spent every weekend with each other for the past month.
Wow.
We're basically best friends now. I'm just kidding.
No, we got weeks of podcasts left before we're best
I haven't
friends.
even ate your asshole once. We're not best friends yet.
Yeah.
That's what best friends do, right?
I mean, I've been asking. Just I haven't been getting it.
It's all right. You're not going to want to do anything now that we're eating these spicy wings.
Oh, yeah. It'll burn every part of us. Could you imagine eating? I wonder. No, that'd be gross.
What?
I just was thinking, like, what if you did eat out someone's butthole, but after they ate really spicy wings? But then what would happen is they'd have to, like, have pooped and then didn't wipe.
I like how you're going into the logistics
yeah,
of
so,
this.
like, to get that spiciness, you'd be fine.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to watch out for those, like, farts and stuff. The spicy farts.
Yeah, they burn your eyes.
Like,
they make you cry a little bit.
Here's a PSA. I'm not downing on eating anybody's ass. I'm just saying it's still gross. You can do whatever you want behind closed doors, but it's...
But you're like, it's icky.
It is. I mean, I don't know. It's a poop shoot. Somebody's poop shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Let's change the subject because this is a very non-platonic...
No, that is the conversation I would talk about with a friend. Like, in that gross...
So you would talk about gross shit like this to make sure that your flirt wasn't on.
Yeah, in that gross thing. Like, hey, do you think it'd burn if you lick someone's butthole after these wings? That's what I would ask a dude I'm not, like...
yeah.
I think that's what I would ask. I think something's happening with our...
Well, yeah. Real quick before you guys delve into that topic.
Oh, yeah.
There is something to that, though, right? If you're a platonic friend, isn't there kind of a freedom to really show kind of how much of a vile creature you are?
Oh, yeah.
That's why we're eating these spicy wings. Well, we'll talk about our food right now. Yeah, you want to do that? Like,
yeah.
So I brought spicy bone-in wings from Zone 208 in Lewiston, Idaho, and they make the best wings in the valley, in my opinion.
I've never had them, and I think I'd agree. Like, that was my first time having them. And don't forget, there's Cougar Gold cheese on it, which is a real. I don't know if we have any listeners that aren't from the valley, but.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a good cheese.
So good. And the reason I picked it for this episode is because our episode's about platonic friendships. And in order to have a platonic friendship, I think you should be able to eat messy-ass food in front of a person and be okay with it.
Yeah. Like,
and
chicken wings, like, you're like a real animal, just especially when they're, like, bone-in. Like, you can't just daintily eat it with a fork, like, if they were boneless. Like, you gotta just go to town, suck on those bones.
That really sets you up for just, like, hey, I'm not interested... in that, let's just be friends.
Yeah.
So what did you make?
I made some pork pot stickers, and two reasons. One, I did have a friend that we ate them a lot together, so I was like, oh, look, it's kind of reminiscent. But I also think it, like, gives you, like, a really garlicky, spicy breath, and, I mean, it might just be me, because I literally spill everything I eat. But when I dip them in the sauce, since it's, like, so liquidy, I, like, it, like, drips down my face and on my shirt. I always do that. So I'm like, it's really messy as well. It's not. I feel like, it's not a flattering food. But
I like the point that you made about the bad breath because
Yeah.
nothing says "don't kiss me" like bad breath.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have Derek. You have producer Derek's trying to talk to us through mouthing words, and I think he forgot that he has a whiteboard to talk to us.
Yeah, it really kind of threw me off because then when Derek does that, I'm like, oh, a panic. So there's a fire. There's a fire in here, and I need to stop recording right
there's
now.
a fire, and he's whispering it to us.
Yeah, like, girls, should we get out? Like, should we keep going, or what should we do?
Run for your lives.
The podcast is on fire. Just
All
straight
right.
fire.
Yeah. No, my butthole's on fire.
Yeah,
to
from
the
the
buttholes.
wings. Oh, so that Derek is saying corn nuts are just one of those foods, like the ranch corn nuts. That is
Blech.
one, like you're eating it, your breath is gonna be disgusting.
Yeah.
No one's gonna want to kiss you for roughly a week, and that's like if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and brushing twice
Yeah.
a day. Like for me, that ranch like lingers on your breath, and you're just like, hey, and everyone's like, oh. So gross.
Yeah, ranch is one of those things.
Like
for
that
sure.
SpongeBob episode. That is how you make a platonic friend. The SpongeBob episode where it's Sunday, so he wants to make a Sunday, but he's out of everything. So it's like he out of peanuts,
Liver, onions, ketchup.
Yeah, it's just like the most
peanuts.
disgusting Sunday. And then he's like, nobody likes me, and
No, he thinks he's ugly.
or yeah, nobody likes him because he's ugly. But it turns out that he's actually he just had bad breath, and Patrick couldn't smell it because he doesn't have a nose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
how,
such a good episode.
yeah, like that's what you should do with also Friends.
Did you know
Watch SpongeBob.
Maroon 5 is doing the Sweet Sweet Victory song at the Super Bowl this year?
Good, because I saw a petition for that. That was like
sweet
good. That makes me actually more excited. I wasn't super excited for the halftime show. I'm like,
Maroon
take
5,
it or leave
whatever.
it. But I'm really excited now because I did see as soon as he passed away, and I'm blanking his name, so I feel bad. But the creator,
It's like
of SpongeBob,
Steven something.
yeah,
Hilleberg.
that I saw a petition immediately go around where it's like, if the halftime show they don't sing this,
Yeah.
I'd be
I'm
real disappointed.
I'm pretty sure that is happening still.
Good.
Also, we are wearing you can't see this if you're listening to us on the podcast, but we are wearing our teams. We're representing because I also got wings because tomorrow's the Super Bowl. Go Rams, fuck the Patriots.
which is also why we're recording today.
Yeah. Which,
Yes.
yeah, it's a Saturday, not our
Yeah.
usual time.
We'll be back to Sundays. It's not a normal thing.
Yeah, but I'm wearing my Steelers. I'm representing the Steelers.
And I am wearing my Cowboys jersey. Cole Beasley, my man. He's so cute.
You know, Big Ben's pretty hot.
Oh.
Do we only watch for boys' butts? Is that the only reason?
I look for the hair, too.
I mean, I only go to the Super Bowl
Some-
because I like food.
You go to the Super Bowl? How many times have you been? How
Oh,
much were the tickets last year?
I'm not saying I bet. I mean, like, I go to Super Bowl parties
Yeah,
for
for
the
the food.
beer and the food.
Yeah, this year, like, I mean, it might be a good game. It'll be fun, but I don't really
It'll be-
care about either team.
It'll be fun to watch the Patriots
For me.
lose again.
If any of your listeners are interested in a full coverage of the Super Bowl, they can go listen to sports program on TSPN with a new episode that's going up today.
Yeah.
And the YouTube was just happened this morning.
Woohoo!
Derek he has his own podcast about
Hey.
sports, and it's on Spotify, iTunes, all the gamut stuff.
Everywhere you get podcasts.
It's like an STD, really.
You guys have a live chat question.
Okay.
I've decided if they ask good questions,
You'll,
I will.
You'll
you're
reward
you're
them?
screening them. Okay.
This question is from Walker.
Oh God.
Would Caitlin eat Donald Trump's butt to save her friend from losing 3 toes?
Please,
This is
Caitlin.
like the million.
Please.
No, like you can live without the toes. Like I'm sorry. Like
What if
don't-
it's my big toe? That's
that
my
does
balance.
okay. Yeah, which toes we talking? I'm thinking like the 3 littlest ones is what you're losing.
I would pay 3 toes to watch you
I
eat his
buy you
ass.
prosthetics. Like it's. I just. Oh my God.
Think of the trouble he'd get in. Then again, I'm sure he has somebody eat his ass every day.
Yeah, like you could probably find.
And as a president, I'm sure you get that. It's like a special treatment.
You can put that like in your contract. Like I need my ass ate every morning.
That's how you got Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
I just don't think I could do it. One, I've never licked a butthole, so I think my first one being Donald Trump.
Wow,
sounds-
you're so brave coming out about your butthole history.
that I've never. Have you
Yeah.
licked a butthole? Well, you don't have to tell us.
Okay, that's good.
She's licked a butthole, everybody. You heard it here first.
I don't recommend it. I had to drink a whole bottle of Bailey's to do it.
Oh, I thought you meant to like clean out your mouth
No,
afterwards.
I had to be drunk on Bailey's in order to do that. deed.
That act.
Yeah.
That
I'm not proud of
selfless
it.
act.
It's a low point in my life.
I don't want to be the licker, but yeah, the licky. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this conversation has happened before. Which
Yeah,
I'm
talk
sorry
about
to our
buttholes
listeners.
too much. This is not a butthole episode, but we're just trying to make sure that the sexual tension between me and Caitlin is at a minimal today. Because
we're trying to get rid of that.
yeah, it's a platonic episode. So we're going to go ahead and say no, she's not going to eat Donald Trump's asshole. But we're going to move on to a listener email that we got this week.
Whew, I'm ready for it.
All right. This week's email comes from a listener named Nick. He writes, "Hi, I've been watching your podcast, and I thought I'd send in my FrienDish story. I was taking a judo class and struck up a friendship with one of my fellow classmates. I so badly wanted to ask her out, but was never certain she felt the same way about me as I felt for her. Plus, I didn't want to mess up our friendship. Well, a few weeks ago, we sparred in class. Don't you know how it happened? Overconfidence on my part, superiority on her part, but she laid me out flat with the most incredible judo throw. To make the story short, paramedics were called, and I went to the ER. The outcome, 2 fractured vertebrae in my neck and a broken foot. So, do I still ask her out? I'll attach a pic here to show the aftermath of our sparring match. Nick, I think you should describe the picture."
Oh, yeah, we're not going to post it on social media because he does want to remain anonymous.
He did say we could use a photo without his face.
That is true.
So we'll maybe. He's got his foot cast. He's sitting in front of his computer. He's got his foot cast and a neck brace. And
poor guy.
Also, though, I gotta say, that girl sounds like a fucking badass.
She sounds like a beast.
Like, I bet
like
her thighs
Brienne of Tarth.
are so strong.
Yeah. I can either imagine her as a Brienne of Tarth type from Game of Thrones or just a tiny Asian woman.
Oh, it just like blowing you out of the water?
Yeah. Or Ronda Rousey, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Derek's gonna have to leave the room. He's getting too hot, even just thinking about this scenario.
I'm getting the vapors.
Yeah. You know what? I would say you didn't just tell us if you've seen any flirting on her part or if that you just like left in a stretcher with a boner. Like, I mean, I don't know. Kaylin, give me some takes on this.
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I've got some mixed feelings on the scenario because, you know, we don't know her side, we don't know how she's acting. So I was thinking about either she's into him as well and wanted to really like show off and impress him,
dominate him.
So like obviously, you know, she wants to do her best, so boom. Or she's not into him, so she wanted to be like, hey. So it's kind of like a message, or that's just how she does it. Because I'm wondering, like, how does she spar with most people? Like, did she go pretty hard?
Yeah, did she just go all out with you?
Yeah, was that like an abnormal thing? But also, I feel like if there's some chemistry, like if you feel like you said, if you're kind of flirting, oh yeah, that's a good question. Derek asked if she brought flowers. Like, has she checked in on you afterwards?
I definitely wondered about that. If she feels guilty at all, which a normal human being would, like, how did she express it to you? For one, I would wait until you are healed completely to approach her about your feelings, if you still have feelings for her after this.
Yeah, like you're saying, so it's not like she feels like, oh, I have to say yes as a thing.
You don't want to make her feel guilty.
But I say go for it. It sounds like you kind of said at the beginning, you guys are friends, or you started as friends, so you guys probably obviously talk, have some common interests, hopefully. I mean, clearly you do. You're both at the same training, judo. But I'd say the worst she's going to say is no. So you do have to weigh out, like, if you ask her out and she says no, will it make it awkward for you to continue going there? Or do you think that you would still be like, okay, she said no, but, like, we're still going to be friends, and I'm still going to, you know, like, I'd love to.
And there's always, like, a date, like, that you can ask somebody out on that isn't initially a date.
Yeah, like grabbing drinks.
Yeah, like, go do something with, like, or not even necessarily a group, but go do something.
Ooh, kind of. You could see if like a couple people from the judo want to all go out, and you can kind of see how your chemistry
connect
is.
with her there.
Yeah, like see if outside of the gym, is it called a gym? What would you call it? Like a dojo?
It's a dojo.
Okay,
Yeah.
so outside of there,
Probably.
do you guys like continue connecting? And
Yeah.
then I'd say ask her to do something one-on-one, because the worst she is gonna say is no, and if you're okay with her saying no,
And
then go for it.
Yeah, and even if she does go on this date, like, I'd hate to say, like, see how she dresses and stuff, but, like, if she shows up and you guys are just going out for coffee and, I don't know, there's so many factors that we don't know about this story, like, how long have you guys been friends?
And really,
It's
like,
tough.
her side, and, like, I would like to know, like, how does she
feel about your situation?
Yeah, how has she talked to you afterwards, or how she checked in on you, and, like, is that, does she go pretty hard when she spars with anyone?
Yeah.
Because maybe if she doesn't, maybe that's a good sign. Maybe she did want to impress you.
Yeah.
That is something so I'm going off thinking of, like, what I would do. Like, I would want to try to look like a badass. Like,
Definitely.
I wouldn't want to be the one laid out.
I definitely wouldn't play like a foo-foo faint person.
Mhm.
If you guys have this hobby where judo is something that you guys both really like, I don't know. It also depends on her age. If she's over 30, if you guys are both over 30, just confront her about it and tell her how you feel, because most people in their 30s, when you ask a person out, like, that's brave enough to where they'd at least give you one chance at least, I'd like to think.
Yeah.
Or they just be straightforward if they have no feelings for you.
Just be like, I love hanging out with you, but not in that way. Like, I don't want to date you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it would be your job from that point, if you're so heartbroken over it, then I don't know. But if you're not heartbroken over her answer and you genuinely care about the friendship, just try to pick up the pieces and, like, roll with it.
Yeah. So in summary, we say wait it out till you're healed, and then, if you're okay with her, start with, like, a friend thing, either just some people from the gym, and then see how it goes. And like you said, check and see if it looks like she's tried, unless you go obviously right after, like, the practice or whatever. But if you meet up later, if it looks like she's put a little effort into her look, that's also a really good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And hope this helped you out a little bit. And if you feel like sending us more details, go right ahead and maybe we'll give you a little bit more of an in-depth answer about it. But definitely, number one, wait till you're healed up to confront her about your feelings. That's number one recommendation for us.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about platonic friendships.
Ooh.
We said friend zone on Instagram, but really we're actually going to do that, a totally different episode.
Yeah.
Because it is different.
Yeah, because friend zone implies... So, and I we kind of talked about this before we got on air, but... or I think last week, that I do believe that people of opposite sex can be friends. Like, that's not an issue. But there is something that's crossed when one person announces their feelings and then the other one doesn't. Because there'll always be kind of some of the... You can't 100% get rid of your feelings for someone, So it does make it harder once that boundary's crossed. But I think, at least for me, I've plenty of male friends.
I do too. I even have one really close friend of mine who we have both had feelings for each other at one point or another.
Oh, yeah.
But never at the right time one of us wasn't single.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just platonic as fuck. Like, I'm not attracted to him at all. And I assume he's not attracted to me.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice. I like it. I like being able to just talk to him about random ass shit. So, I call him my walking encyclopedia because he's really smart.
Sounds like a nice... Ooh, take him to trivia.
Oh, man, he'd probably kill at it, actually. But he didn't get out much.
Yeah, so... Do you have any stories about some platonic friends?
That is basically my number one platonic friendship. I have another one that I also listed on my best friends episode. This guy Clayton is one of my best friends, and so is Colin.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both very platonic friendships. I'm not saying that we have to assert the fact that, like, I probably would fuck them at one point, but it's just not, I don't know. Derek, you said it best. You said it best at one point.
It's different. That's two different things. I personally have a group of girlfriends who I have never tried to have sex with. and it's never been a thing. We are platonic friends, and it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have sex with any of them.
Exactly. That's exactly. I've never tried to have sex with either of my two
And it is
dude
true,
best
like
friends,
having
but
sex
I
with
would.
someone versus like having real intimate feelings of like a more thing. That's very different. Like
Yeah.
you can, yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, because I have like a friend in Seattle. So we met in college, and I thought he was the weirdest dude. That instantly I was like, I feel bad saying this, but I was like, not cute. Like, but he's weird, and I want to know what's going on with him. He looked like a little emo dude showing up to culinary school with his hair was all straight, and he had eyeliner. He wore like a really
guy liner.
one of those skinny ties.
Nice.
Like he looked cool, but I was just like, I'm not into it. So it was like super easy for me to feel like I could approach him
Exactly.
and be like, hey dude, hey, what's going on? And we became really good friends to the point that like we were roommates a couple of times. So right after when we left the student housing, we lived together for 2 years, and then when I moved back to Seattle a few years later, so when I came home and then moved back, he lived with me again, and we worked together. Like, we just, something about it, like, was so great, because we were just, like, I felt like I could just be super weird. I could just talk about really disgusting things, but one thing I love about having platonic friends, which we kind of talked about, is, like, I feel like I can ask them really personal questions about even, like, sexual things, that I'm like, hey, I've always wondered, or even without it feeling weird.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I always love asking men. Then again, I've done this on dates too, as just an icebreaker of sorts. What do you masturbate to? I'm always curious. Like,
Oh yeah, that I asked Corey that. I used to ask like in the middle, or he'd be like, we'd just be sitting there, and they'd be like, when you get up in the middle of the night, do you sit down or stand up to pee? And then we just have these lengthy conversations.
I'd assume
About,
that
like-
you, Caitlin, sit down.
Well, I sit down. I wish I could stand up sometimes, but well, I asked him that.
Yeah.
But I also learned some weird stuff about him, which is like, I don't know if a female friend would have told me some of the things.
Oh, really? Give like a genre of what? Like, what's the genre or the theme of the
I just
things?
really want to tell everyone, but I don't think I can. I'm going
Okay.
to. I don't think he'll ever listen to this. Or if he does,
No. R.I.P. the friendship.
yeah, good to know you, buddy. Well, one time he was getting off the couch super weird, and I was like, what's going on? Or sitting, he was just like, my butthole hurts really bad.
Oh, was it a hernia?
No, he like just wiped too much. Like he just like chafed his butthole. Like,
Wet wipes, bro.
I'm talking
Gotta
about
use
butts again.
them.
I gotta get out of that.
It's a butt-themed episode, guys.
Yeah.
We're just tricking you. It's not platonic at all.
However, we did make a pact, which may happen soon. One of those pacts where it's like, well, if we're not, I can't remember what age, but if we're not married or with anyone by this age, we're gonna be together. Like, we're gonna
Aw.
get married.
That's cute.
But he does have a girlfriend right now, so maybe that won't happen. But I might be subject to marrying him, so maybe it will become more than platonic in a few years. We will find out.
So I think that we should also talk about how to find out whether or not a person is interested in you, like the difference between. So you got to know when somebody's flirting with you,
Yeah.
and you also got to know how to shut it down if that's not how you feel. And there's no real graceful way to do it. You could fart in front of them, I guess. That I would assume that would turn any person off.
I don't like that feeling. I have had guys that are interested in me,
And
and
you
either
just rip ass in front of them.
well, I didn't do that, but I did. Maybe I should have, but I was always scared to like talk about the subject. Like I would avoid it so hard. Like I would never,
So
like
you could tell that they were into you, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
I would either let things make things happen where it's like we wouldn't be alone together in a more
Oh.
like
Yikes.
oh now we can't watch movies together anymore,
Just go
or
do friendship things.
like I think they're gonna talk to me, so I'm just gonna keep avoiding the subject. I'm sitting on this blanket weird.
What are some things that you can talk about to the opposite gender or the opposite sex to make sure that you guys are both on the same page about your friendship?
Oh, well, I mean, one, you can make it very clear about, like, oh, there's this really cool person I'm interested in that I'm thinking about.
I was thinking the same
Like,
thing. 'cause
I do think if you kind of broach the subject of, like, hey, I want your advice on this person that I'm thinking about.
exactly.
And that, I feel like, is a very clear message. Immediately.
But you got to be careful about that
Yeah.
because if you are not single and you have a friend who is single and you're going to him to seek advice about your relationship, that right there can tell you whether or not they're interested in you. Because if they're like, you should dump him, that
Yes.
could be ulterior motives.
Yeah.
And that, that's toxic. Unless he's genuinely being like, hey, so you know how your boyfriend, he beats you? You should probably leave him. That's, I mean, you got to gauge the situation, but.
Yeah, that is true. Like, I think it's different if you're in a relationship with someone and then that other person is trying to, it might not be appropriate for you to ask advice or talk about advice, but if you're both single and you're thinking they might be interested in you, I think that's a good way is just kind of discuss, like, your relationship life or what you're interested in or...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, with Corey, who I've talked to, I never really thought that he was into me ever. But I remember one time I was like, I don't make out with guys whose thighs are smaller than mine. And he was like really skinny.
That's so mean.
And I felt like that was also like a clear way. I was like, I'm never going to make out with you.
Oh, well, I guess that
is me. I don't feel that way anymore. But I was so self-conscious like in college, even though I was fine. But I was like, nope, if your thighs are thinner than mine, can't do it. Sorry, bud.
I like big men too.
Yeah.
Hey, Derek, give us a little piece of information from yourself. Give us some stories. I feel like you have some good stories, especially since you're friends with some of my friends who you were talking about specifically, like Katie and Annie and Julianne. They're such a good example of you went out and sought these women for platonic friendships.
I specifically sought out. So something about myself is that you know that both of you know is that I am salty and I can be catty. Sassy. So I specifically sought out a group of women to be my friend because I felt like if I had a group of like younger women to be my friend, I could kind of go out and just be a little more who yeah. Not to sound like like a weirdo, but like to kind of like shed some of the masculinity stuff. Like not that my friends are all they don't build sheetrock walls around those engines they've been working on. Like my friends are all pretty salty and catty as well. I just feel like I was able to really connect with I thought I would be able to connect with a group of women. And so I met these three around the same time. And
it wasn't Annie. It was Samantha, wasn't it?
No, it was
Sammy.
No, it was Sammy and Katie and Julianne. Shout out. Shout out to Scissor Me Timbers, my Instagram group that I have that I send them memes. And I had met them at Hogan's or somewhere, and I just thought they were a great group of young ladies, and they were really funny. That was what my draw was. They were all three just really funny. And I was like, yeah, this could work really well.
And they're all still super drop dead gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Not saying you wouldn't fuck them, but
no, and
that's not their purpose in your life.
And I had made that completely clear to them later on. I mean, I didn't say like I do all of you.
Tell us a story about Julianne.
So Julianne was actually the first one I approached because she was friends with somebody that I worked with back in the day. So Julianne, I had texted her and told her she should come over and hang out. I really wanted to.
That's a tough one to do.
I did. Yep. But I just reached out and I was like, hey, I'd love to hang out. Let's watch like shitty scary movies.
Yeah, but you lived in like a bachelor pad.
I did.
So
I absolutely
it's
did.
Scary.
So prior to her coming over, I knew that I wanted to, and I was like, oh, and I'll make us food. But I knew she was gonna come over, and I knew very much in my heart and in my head and my brain that I was not going to make a move on this person. I wanted her to genuinely be my friend. So the food that I prepared was a pan of the dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets and tater tots and French fries that I served in the pan that I baked them in on the coffee table in front of us with ketchup and mustard squeezed like into the thing. And we watched on the pan, and we watched. I stayed true exactly to what it was. We watched crappy B movies on Netflix, and then we just talked about like
life.
Yeah, we just talked like you would talk to a close friend. The other thing that I feel like is a saving grace for me on this situation. I could tell when she came over instantly she was like disarmed.
She's uncomfortable, right?
Well, I mean, she was uncomfortable maybe prior because we hadn't hung out. But I could tell as soon as she walked in and saw what I had made, and it was like, oh. And then when we walked over to go sit down, like I had a couch and a love seat. But then you guys have seen my lazy boy recliner that my grandfather gave me, and that's where I sit. That's my chair, and I sat in my chair, nowhere near her. Not because I was trying to avoid sitting next to her, but that's where I sit, and gave her the ability to like. She sprawled out on my couch. And then I could tell she was just like, oh, this is my friend. Mm-hmm. We're going to watch these shitty movies and make fun of them. And then from that day forward, there was never any tension. She knew very full well what my intentions were. And I asked her if she'd invite me to hang out with her friends because I wanted them involved too, because I wanted to infiltrate their group as one of the girls. And I did. And I've hung out with them millions of times, and it's been wonderful. It was much later where I was like, yeah, I never intended on sleeping with any of you, but I would sleep with literally any of you because I'm an honest person and I don't care.
Yeah.
And they also got that impression when they realized kind of who I am, but
yeah,
that's for another time.
That's such a good story about, I mean, I thought that was exemplary of a...
Well, and I think, so like what you're saying with, you wanted that feeling of kind of like letting out a part of you that you didn't. I have always liked that. I like being one of the guys. Like, I love picking on people and having people, so I can laugh at myself really easily. Like, I am okay when I make mistakes and I think it's funny. And I can pick on myself, but I like when other people pick on me and I can pick on them. And I feel like that dynamic happens among men, like naturally, like groups of men, you know, that like they always are joking like at each other. And I love that. And I wanted to have that like feeling and that thing, but also have a group of guys like that I could trust and like reach out to. And honestly, maybe it's because I didn't really have a father figure. I mean, I have a dad, but my mom, once they got divorced, like I didn't really have a dad in my life, so I liked having like guys that I felt secure, that like
you could rough around with,
or like my car broke down, I need help, I know I have a group of people in my life that I can reach out to and have like a good base, or like I don't know how to do this thing to fix something, I don't know, like I liked having also that like security and like more of like a comfort is like I don't have a dad to reach out to, but I have all these men friends that are like really smart and intelligent about a lot of topics that I've never got into, and that they want to show me like how to, I don't know. That's like something I like.
So I think part of my attraction to having a group of women friends is this is a time in my life too where I was actively trying to not date anybody.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I had just gone from one to one to one.
You're going to work on yourself.
And I wanted to be by myself, but I also feel like it's really healthy to have a good mix of men and women in your life.
Yeah, because they give you different things.
It was the exact opposite problem for me. I had too many guy friends in my life for a while, and this last year, 2018, my resolution was to make more women friend because I was just depressed about how I had such a big gap of femininity
yeah, you
in
needed
my
that
life.
more in your life.
I felt so boyish, and so I don't know, there was just not enough love in my life, and I needed that kind of love from women.
And that support that women give you, that like builds you up, that like, girl, you're fucking crushing it, you look good,
exactly.
You do that, like that's something men don't.
So no, and I wanted that too.
Yeah.
I'm just as insecure. So a lot of it also came from is I wanted that kind of connection with some women friends, but I wanted to take away any and all pressure to be trying to fuck any of them. Mm-hmm. I didn't want that pressure. I wanted it just to be a natural. And when I went out to the bars with them, mm-hmm. I was never on the hunt. I was never on the prowl. I was never looking to, like, when I go out with like guy friends and I was single, it'd be like, well, you know,
like making joke or like talking and about other.
But in this case, we're like talking about whatever, and it was never any pressure for me to just like perform as like trying to attract a mate. Instead, it was just like I'm just hanging out with some friends, and I'm the bitchy one.
Yeah.
I got to be the bitchy one.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because they're actually all three very sweet.
Yeah. And the easiest way to have, I mean, it's not a guarantee, but the easiest way to have a platonic friendship with somebody of the opposite gender is to just be married couple friendships. I mean, a lot of the best friendships I have with men, besides Colin and Clayton, are the married men, because there's just no, like, I'm not creeping in on them, but we can all be like real with each other. Like Tony from work, he fucking gets it. Like, I'm engaged, he's married and has 2 kids, and it's just like there's just, you know, there's no doubt that we're gonna talk about weird, gross shit and inappropriate shit, but it's fine, it's fun, you know.
I have that too. Like, I have a group of girlfriends that I'm like pretty close with, that are all married, and I hang out with their husbands, and it's really great. Like, one of my friends, Jerica and Cameron, like me and Cameron would go to like the tap takeovers together, and I felt like our friendships really bonded during that time. It was really great because we just talked about like beer and what our, you know, at that time we were working at the same company, so we like just talked about work, and it was so great to have just like, because I was married at the time, he was married, like we were never worried about it, and everyone knew, like, or we were all friends already, that it wasn't like a concern. And same with like Chaz and Maggie. Like, I love that I can like hang out with Chaz and joke around, and I was able to build that friendship because I was friends with his wife, and then like.
So I was thinking today about foods that you shouldn't eat on a hangout one-on-one with somebody who you're trying to establish a platonic relationship with. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, at first I thought salad would be something that wouldn't be on the list, but then I was like, no, you're trying to impress somebody because you're trying to look like you're eating healthy in a way. So a salad would be something that's kind of romantic in a way. And also like smoothies. I don't know, like you can imagine somebody drinking smoothies together. What are some like romantic dishes to avoid?
Well, one, I feel like aphrodisiacs, so some nice oysters, some chocolate, you know, things that are like, I'm gonna really set this mood. But
dark chocolate.
It is kind of weird. So at the beginning, it's different, but once your friendships develop, and once it's like really established, like you can eat whatever you want, even really nice meals. But for me, my biggest thing is I wouldn't make something that is gonna be super expensive or really, really time-consuming.
You're not trying to show off.
Yeah, where it looks like maybe later. Like, I love showing off cooking, but later
to your
in the
friends
game.
later, yeah.
But at the beginning, like, if it's like, oh, I spent all this money, then I feel like it'd be, like, hard to, like, I don't know, like, because if somebody goes out of their way, you're like, wow, look what they did for me. Like, they just spent, you know, they spent $60 on these steaks, and they marinated these things, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah, Derek made it.
Those are more the things that I'm like, that's where you're crossing a line. But also, like Derek said, if you're just like, well, here's some nuggets on a thing, like, eat up.
Yeah.
You need anything? It's in the fridge.
Yeah, Derek made a good point on his whiteboard over there that, like, when you eat a salad, it's a light meal because you're going to bang them later. So you're eating light. It's a Dan Savage thing, too.
Could be.
And Derek's favorite meal is pescetti, which makes him bloated, so I guess no sex. No sex after pescetti.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to have sex if I eat any dairy, like ice cream. So, I mean, I guess if I'm going to be like, I'm going to eat this ice cream, I'd be like, tell them, like, you want to get some ice cream? I'm going to regret it and spend some time in the bathroom afterwards, but we should do it anyways. They'd be like, okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of tricky, but I just think it's more like, once you establish the friendship, do whatever you want. Like, go out on dinner, like, go out to dinner, eat whatever you want at home, cook together, like, that's fine. It's the beginning. You gotta, like, just don't put a lot of...
Yeah, just gauge their feelings, too. I mean, I think most people are pretty obvious when they're flirting with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're complimenting you nonstop, maybe you're just dressed nice. I'm just
also,
kidding.
It's different
they probably
if
like
you. Like, plated up their food and, like, have it set out in a nice table setting, and then you bring it over and you all sit down. It's, like, it's getting a little weird. But if you just are like, oh, I cooked some dinner, you can, like, help grab whatever you want. It's that having that more casual dynamic, I think, is what's gonna, like,
another thing is if they have kids and they bring you directly to meet their kids, most people, that's like a pretty good indicator, like, hey, come meet my kids because I'm not interested in you.
Yeah.
Come meet my kids.
Yeah.
Right away. Because most people shelter their kids from the people they date.
Derek wants to know if you've ever been asked to dinner at a Chinese restaurant or to go.
I don't think I've ever been asked to a Chinese restaurant, but I have requested going to because I love Chinese food. But I've also been asked to go to like out for sushi too.
But on a date though, I just mean like heavy, like chow mein. Like somebody asks you
Salty.
somebody asks you to go on a date for like salty Chinese soy sauce, heavy noodles on a date. I've been asked on a date and we're like, let's go to a Chinese restaurant. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then I knew in the back of my mind, nothing's coming from this because I'm gonna have to go home immediately.
So I do want to ask. So I like that, Derek. You found the ladies. You found your crew. But maybe you have, either of you might be able to say this. I don't have any advice on this. I don't know how to approach a man and be like, I want to be your friend. So I think like if I've gone to school or if they're dating someone I'm friends with or married to someone,
school's easy.
It's really easy because, again, like we've talked before, or work, you have that thing. But
don't approach somebody in a bar.
It's hard.
That's
like
harder.
I don't know how to just like I've met guys that I'm like, oh, you seem really funny or really cool. It's like, how do
I have a
approach
solution
and just
for
be
you.
like, I want to hang out with you.
I have a solution, and I've been
Tell
meaning
me.
to bring this up to you because my good friend Sarah has made these for a couple years now, and she changes them up every once in a while. She has made business cards for friends, and it just gives her, and it's she had me design her like the layout and stuff, but she has information about herself and that it's a friendship card, and she gives it to people that she wants to be friends with.
Oh, like call this number if you're looking for a friend.
Or yeah, and it has her social media accounts on it. I don't think it has her phone number on it, but it has like Facebook, Instagram.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's like, hey,
that
hit
is
me
a better
up.
way
like,
to be like.
And it's got her interests on it and her hobbies and
Okay,
like her animals.
We should
she
do
likes.
this because we have been talking like how to just make friends in general. And I love this.
Yeah,
I think that. Plus, how cute is that? Like, I think you're cool. I'd like you to take my friendship.
Yeah, maybe you
card.
don't have time to talk to them, or you don't know how to break the ice. Like, I saw a girl at physical therapy a couple weeks ago that I was like, oh my god, she looks like she'd be so fun to hang out with. I know her leg's broken, but like, I want to hang out with this girl because she's so cute. And I didn't know how to approach her because you're kind of at physical therapy, so you're supposed to be in your own kind of corner doing your own thing. So, I don't know. I really regret not having one of the friendship cards that Sarah's made. Like,
yes, I think
for myself.
I want to do that because I do think that would also be kind of, and it's kind of funny. So that like breaks the ice, which is really nice. Like when you
it's
give
like
it to
the
someone.
friendship resume that I tried to send you.
Yeah, like I like that because I just like there's this guy that I worked with at Jollymore's, Peter, which I think he's so cute. Like, and I do think like he's just a giant redhead.
Oh, I like him already.
Yeah, but I genuinely thought he was super weird and super funny, and I would want to be his friend, but I also was like...
It's a good way to be like, just friends. Just friends.
You want to be my friend, please?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about friend zones later.
Yeah, because that's a different, like...
Totally different than Platonics.
That definitely happens, but...
I want to talk real quick because we've just been talking about male and female genders, and while I don't have anything to say about the fluidity of genders and all that kind of stuff. I did try to make friends this last year. Oops. Sorry. I don't know why my alarm went off. But I made friends with a couple trans people this last year, and both of them are trans women. And one of them propositioned me to be in a exclusively platonic relationship. And I told her, I was like, well, I'm not really in an open relationship right now. And she's like, well, that's not what I mean. It's more of like an emotional platonic relationship. And I'm like, not necessarily getting how this is anything other than a friendship.
Yeah, I'm not understanding.
But the way she described it was really interesting, and I was like kind of on board with it, but at the same time I didn't want to not run it by Derek first because I wasn't 100% sure whether or not this was going to lead to anything. So I don't know. It was all very complicated to me at the time, and I freaked the fuck out, and kind of like our friendship, we hung out one time and it was amazing. And I just felt like this immediate connection with her, and I think she felt the same way about me because we texted for a long time after that, and then it just kind of stopped, and I felt so blue-balled, but not in like a sexual way, but like I was really bummed, basically, and I need to reach out to her again because she reached out to me recently last month to be like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, good, how's your new job? And then I didn't really get a reply. So I think I need to, I think I'm going to write her a handwritten letter and just leave it at her door and be like, hey, what we kind of felt for each other that night was definitely a real connection for a real friendship, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we should try to hang out again. Let's do it.
Yeah, why not?
But it was like the weirdest platonic feeling I've ever felt because it was like this person could potentially be a best friend.
Oh.
But
that's really
we'll
sweet.
See. I know, it was really
Yeah, you can't leave them hanging then.
I know, I've left her hanging for like months now. So
yeah.
I felt bad because the reason that we hung out in the first place was because she's all like, come play guitar with me. And I was like, yes, I'll do that. And then I show up with a guitar and I'm like, by the way, I don't know how to play guitar.
Where'd you get the guitar?
I have a guitar.
Oh, I was like, damn, you went out and bought one?
No, I used to play guitar, but
okay.
I've really, really lost it. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
It's been years. Anything else? Pretty, straightforward. But I do want to hear our listeners' stories about platonic friendships. And I want to know how they determined when it was. When was that moment you figured out the person that you're friends with, it's 100% platonic?
Or also how did you guys meet and how did you become friends and what was it? Did you?
Can you be platonic friends with somebody you fucked already? I want to know that. You were just a one-night stand, and now you're best friends.
Trying to think if I've done that.
It's tough. You've seen each other. Into each other.
Yeah, but if there's not a feelings of wanting to turn into a relationship, well, I mean, we are going to talk about that.
We're going to be talking about friends with benefits.
So because that's what I don't want to get too deep in that because we have that conversation going because I have that experience. I got that going on. So I'm trying to think I don't really want to get too far, but I would love to hear how you guys became friends, how'd you meet, and also if people can tell stories about friends with benefits and
friend zones,
that'd be great for future because I think all these are
really close.
We could just kind of talk about it. I think that's why this conversation is a little bit harder is because we can cross over to that other story really easily.
Tough. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard not to, because I feel like I do have some friends now that we are platonic friends. But I know he had feelings for me for years, but I made it know I don't want to lose your friendship. I love your friendship so much, which is great. Now he's engaged and super happy and it's all kind of back to normal and our friendship is just but there was that little blip in the middle where I kind of was well, gotta throw you in a different little category for a little bit, guy. You crossed the boundary. So
the easiest people to be platonic friends with are people who are already in a really committed, happy relationship. Coworkers are easy.
Yeah.
God, I don't know why this keeps going off. Anyways, sorry, that was my alarm again because I have pottery at 5.
Oh, cool.
One of your listeners on the last show, when you guys were talking about coworkers, commented on the last one about being able to compartmentalize friendships. I think there's something to look into there too for a future episode.
Oh yeah.
That is true. I'm different with a lot of friends. I'm very different.
Yeah, you do have different
personalities with different friends.
And yeah. So
let's play our game.
Okay.
So we're going to play the games that we play all the time. $1 Million Butt and Hot Seat. What's our time at, Derek?
Play your game.
Okay. Well, here's the first one. We're going to do $1 Million Butt. All right. $1 Million Butt. Every year on your birthday, you have to referee a sports game you don't know the rules to.
Okay.
That's how you get to spend your birthday.
I love my birthday, and I make it I really try to stretch. I'm one of those people. It's like March 1st. I'm like, hey bitches, it's my birthday month. Like, how much can I celebrate? How many things can I do in honor of my birthday? So because I do that, maybe it'd be okay. But also, I think it'd be kind of funny. And then, like, people, I could just make my friends like guilt, be like, come watch me ref this game. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna fuck with everyone.
What games don't you know any of the rules to?
Probably all of them. I don't know enough of
Yeah.
any game to ref any game.
The only game I could feel good about refereeing would be basketball or volleyball. And I was in swim team, so I could probably do that too. But there's not really a referee. You just have to make sure that they're not doing any of the illegal stuff, like touching the wall before they should.
But for $1 million, like, it's kind of worth it. I mean,
It would be funny.
It's not even your whole birthday. It's just a couple hours, most
Yeah.
likely. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do it. I'd 100% do it.
I guess I would do it too for $1 million. Just 'cause.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'd actually maybe by the end of it would run out of sports that I wouldn't already know.
And so then you wouldn't have to do it anymore.
Yeah,
because you
I'd be like,
already
well,
know.
last year I did football.
And now I
So
know how to
now
ref it.
I did some research and now I know how to ref it, so I can never ref football ever again. And by the time you're 90, you're like doing it for chess games.
And if we know anything about football, you never have to be good at reffing it.
No one has to know.
Deflategate. All right. The next question is $1 million, but every time you brush your teeth, your genitals and nose switch places for 10 minutes. Well, we're not men, so it'll be very moist.
Ew. I'm like kind of torn. I'm like trying to think when I brush my teeth are usually times like I'm gonna go to work, so I got my commute's longer than 10 minutes, so that's fine. Or like I'm getting ready for bed, or after like. But also, oh man, this for the rest of my life. Like I would get $1 million, and then this scenario would happen for the rest of my life.
You know what I would do?
Is that what the question is though?
Yeah, for
Oh,
the rest
then-
of your life, every time you brush your teeth, you could get all your teeth pulled and then never have to worry about it again. And just eat through a tube or get dentures. Do you still have to brush dentures?
You still gotta
dentures?
brush
Yeah.
those gums,
Oh,
too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't think I'd want it. I don't know. If
Wait. Loophole.
Okay.
Instead of you brushing your teeth, get somebody else to brush your teeth for you.
I mean,
I
Or
think
is it every
anytime
time
your teeth are brushed? I
Oh.
think is what
it's
it
But it
only
is.
says
for
you.
10 minutes. I mean, you
Yeah, it
brush your
really-
teeth before a shower, and you do it in the morning. No one sees you.
Do it at
in
night
the
before
evening,
bed.
No one sees you.
Can
And
you
your
imagine we'd have 10 minutes to experiment?
You could face fuck each other.
Face fuck me.
I would brush my teeth at the same time.
Ew, that'd
Just
be.
for like,
And then what if someone walked in on you guys like banging your face genitals together? It'd be weird.
Film it.
It'd be weird. To
it would be
see.
weird for the woman because somebody's dick is going right into your forehead, man.
Yeah, it'd be.
You're
strange.
just placing, like, your uterus replaces your brain, maybe, or is it underneath your brain, or is like your uvula gone and that's
clearly have
like
too
an
many questions for
ovary?
this game.
Ovary?
We need to know all these like.
The men have it
logistics.
easier because your ball sack just hangs over your mouth so you don't talk, and then your penis is just your nose.
Like Squidward.
Yeah, like a really messed up Squidward. SpongeBob again. Dude, we've talked about SpongeBob twice and buttholes too many times.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry about that. Rated M for mature, bitches.
All right, the hot seat. I have 2 questions, but we don't have to do both, depending on time. Thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs up for the time. So, what is the most unusual reason that you've broken up with someone? I know, that's a tough, right off the top of the head question.
I've only broken up with one person, so I don't know
Really?
how to answer. It wasn't unusual. It was just.
Divorce?
No, I'm trying. Oh, that doesn't count.
Oh.
Well, divorce is breaking up, but I'm trying to think of like I went up to a man and was like, you know what? We've had a good run, pal. See you later. I mean, I didn't say it like that, and it just wasn't unusual. It was just like I was an idiot and thought that like I'm not an idiot. Like this is what people do, but I'm like I'm in college. This is when I gotta experiment. I gotta see what's going on in the world, and I can't have you holding me back. And
The most unusual reason for me is actually really mean.
oh,
Yeah.
do you have?
It's gonna really color me in a bad,
Do you want to tell
it's
people?
like bad light on me. but it's the only thing that I can think of that's like an unusual thing.
Are you about to?
And
break
I
your
don't think he
engagement off?
knows. I don't think that he knows that I dumped him for this reason.
Are you gonna tell people? Or are you just
Yeah,
gonna, this is
I'm
a
just
real
drawing it
long
out.
teaser.
Yeah.
Because I'm dying.
I
over
won't
here.
tell him. I won't tell the name.
Yeah, don't do
But I did end up breaking up with a guy who was my age. I'm 25 because he found out he had diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I did not tell him that's why I broke up with him.
Oh.
But I was so turned off after that because my family has a history of diabetes, and I was like, well, I can't, like, this isn't going to be long term, so I might as well break it off right now because I'm not going to marry somebody who has type 2 diabetes.
I mean,
because I'm going to be honest, I only date people that I plan to marry.
oh yeah, I agree. You
So-
date to spend like.
Long term relationships are where my goal, and look, I'm tied down now.
You should probably also preface that by saying that you have, not only does your family have a history of diabetes, but also you are mortally terrified of it.
Oh yeah, no, if diabetes is one of my biggest fears. Like, I am so scared every time I go to the doctor that they're gonna tell me I have diabetes, and like cancer, whatever. Like, not to be that person who like downplays cancer, but if somebody told me I had cancer, I'd be like, it's not diabetes though. So that's
At least I
fine.
got that.
Yeah.
I do understand. Like, it's hard to
Just
like.
seeing what my grandma has gone through.
And
She's had it
knowing
since she
in
was in her
advance,
40s.
like knowing, there's something to be said about like different when you like have been in a relation long term, you live together, you're married, like, and then if some health benefits come up, like you're committed to that person, it changes. But knowing that in advance, it does make it really hard to be like, am I okay with jumping into this, knowing that this person, what that's gonna look like? Like, am I a strong enough person to take care of them, to do it, all the things, to know it's, you know?
Well, it was just,
it's a
for
really
me, it was about
hard-
kids too, because I knew I wanted to have kids, but I didn't want somebody else who had that in their family.
Yeah.
And because I was like, it's already, it pre-positioned in my family for people to have that eventually, or if they're overweight. Most of my family is pretty overweight. So it's, it's just a scary thought to me. Also, I did also stop having feelings for him when he brought his whole family to my art show without telling me, and I had to meet his mom and his grandma and all these people, and we had to go out to dinner with them afterwards, and I was pretty pissed off about that because I was I wasn't told I was going to be meeting his family, because I was like no, and because my family was already there because it was my art show.
Yeah.
So it was like,
so he could expect that. Like,
it was, well, I guess it wasn't my art show, but it was like one of those Art Uncorked. The paint, the little
B squared.
Yeah. So it was my stuff that they were coming to see.
Yeah.
But it was just like really uncomfortable. Anyways, let's move. Unless you have.
No.
Okay. What future invention are you really looking forward to? A future invention.
Ooh, an invention.
Self-driving cars.
I was gonna say cars that don't need gas. I hate getting gas. I need something that does not allow. I know there are options now, so I shouldn't say that.
My pottery
That's a bad
teacher,
one though. That's not really the
my
thing.
pottery teacher, they have an electric car and they have a plug-in at their house, and I'm like, dude, you guys are so cool.
Yeah, but I want to plug it in. Like, I want it to run on air. Like, I just want it to run.
Oh, you don't want to ever have to deal or
Yeah, like, I don't.
like whatever.
That's a bad one. I don't know.
It's called a bicycle.
Yeah, I should get one of those.
Well, just going off of what Clayton tells me all the time, because he's pretty engrossed in the science world. He is pretty obsessed with like the idea of humans being able to live forever eventually.
Oh, I don't want
via
that.
like AI uploading your brain.
Nope.
Or
not something I'm excited or supportive of.
No, I'm not really excited about it either. This is a controversial topic. I am excited about the editing of genes. You can have a designer baby, which I think is really cool but scary. And it's not always it's an ethical discussion whether or not it should be done. It has been done though now. A Chinese doctor did it without anybody's permission. Oh, there went our light.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he's in jail now. I actually think China killed him. China was like, hey man, you weren't supposed to do that, but he did it, and now there's 3 designer babies out there from China.
It makes me nervous to like play with literally human. Like, it just seems like a...
Yeah, a lot of
I don't know
people
if
think
I'm-
that it would be really good because you can get rid of disabilities, which a lot of people with disabilities would argue that that is wrong, to get rid of children with disabilities,
Yeah.
because that's adversity, you know. But would you? It's a oh my god, it's such
Yeah,
a
that was
big
just
subject.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not even gonna get
Yeah.
into it. I'm so sorry I even brought it up. It's such a huge discussion that's not for this show about friendship.
You know what invention I want? I want a thing that it's like the bank where you go to the drive-thru and you put the little tube in and it like shoots through and it gives you your money. I want a thing from my house to the grocery store.
Ooh.
So when I need a beer or I need some food, I need some veggies, I can order. I can like be like, "Hello, it's Caitlin." I press the button and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then I order it and it just like vacuum sucked to my house and nobody has to deliver it. I don't have to tip anyone. They just put it in. And boom, my food is at my house. I need a lot of underground tube systems.
It sounds like a Spy Kids movie, honestly. Spy Kids
Yeah.
had so many good inventions in that movie
Or
itself.
Smart House. Remember that
Smart
one?
House. Oh my god, that's such a good movie.
Yeah, maybe I...
Or what's that one where it's just like Xena? Was it Xena?
Xenon, the girl of the 21st century?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or what about the girl who, like, the hologram girl? Disney Channel movies, man.
Yeah. They were
She's-
really on it.
They were really... I loved Disney Channel movies. And now
Disney
they're all
Channel
garbage.
originals? Yeah, they're not good anymore.
They're
like Johnny
garbage.
Tsunami. Oh.
Or Phil of the Future.
So good.
Or the 13 year or whatever, 13th year about the mermaid boy.
Yeah.
Or the leprechaun boy. Turned 13 and I'm a leprechaun now. Like, something to say
Oh.
about year 13, man. Disney Channel had it. Something.
Because you
there.
weren't unlucky, so you were turning...
My favorite part of the Leprechaun movie is when he starts getting an Irish accent, because that's what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. He yells, "Saints preserve me! I'm getting shorter."
And he grows pointy ears and his hair starts turning red.
Yeah.
Kind of racist. A little bit. Is
Against
it
us
racist? Is it racist? to
I
be?
don't know.
I know that last podcast on the left got in a lot of hot water about making fun of Irish people for a while.
Oh.
And they were like, we're not sorry, but we're also not sorry.
Yeah.
So. Whoa. Hello.
That was a little fun trip for everyone.
You got to see the inside of a closet for a little second
Yeah, Derek's
there.
just swinging his hand around, moving the camera.
Sorry about that, YouTube folks. Anyways, I think we're going to call it right there.
Yeah.
So, once again, fuck the Patriots. Go Rams. And we're going to let Derek talk us out.
Talk it out. Talk it out.
Thank you to everyone for listening to the show or watching on YouTube, at FrienDish Podcast on Instagram, at FrienDish Pod on Twitter. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content. Email us your friendship stories, your platonic friendship stories at friendishpodcast@gmail.com, and the gals will feature it on the next episode. This episode of FrienDish will be available with all other TSPN podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and of course, TSPN.fun. Because remember, it's not fun unless you're spending time poorly. Thank you, everybody.